televised. Long-term costs get minimized. Moments feel free, the future waits. Biology, don't negotiate. A choice gets made, a door swings wide. What walks through doesn't ask you why. Say it's cruel to point it out, but silence is what keeps it loud. Before the wait, before the cry, before the years asking why, there was a moment clear and still, where choice outweighed emotion's thrill. You don't call it fate when risk is known. You don't call it luck when seeds are sown. This isn't blame, it's sequential. 'Cause comes first, the rest is grown. First, society cheers for survival mode. Never ask how the cycle grows. Energy fades, stories shift. Truth bends slowly, inch by inch. Two people meet, one moment decides. The rest of life gets multiplied. Not every burden's forced or thrown. Some are carried by past we chose. Call it harsh, call it unfair. Facts don't change when feelings flare. Before the wait, before the cry, before the years asking why, there was a moment clear and still, where choice outweighed emotion's thrill. You don't rewrite, 'cause when the cost feels real, pain doesn't change what was agreed or sealed. This isn't cold, this isn't stone. It's our responsibility has always grown. No one said the load ain't real. No one said the hurt don't feel. But hardship doesn't rewind time or erase the starting line. There's empathy and there is truth. Both can live but not confuse. Say it slow, say it clean. What starts the chain defines the scene. Before the wait, before the cry, before the nights that never die, there was control, there was a choice, there was a clear, unmuted voice. You don't fix wounds by hiding cars or breaking logic into laws. This isn't judgment, this is known. Responsibility starts at the moment chosen.
Yeah. Look in the mirror, hold that line. If you don't stand for yourself, you cross it every time. Hands up, feel that weight. This starts inside, don't hesitate. Walking loud with nothing inside, demanding the world but refusing to climb. Pointing fingers, throwing blame, calling it power but it's just shame. You can't honor rules you never kept. Can't show respect if you never had self-respect. Stand up straight, feel your name, know your worth, don't play the game. When you value what you are, you don't tear down who they are. Bring back self-respect, stand your ground, don't deflect. If you know your own worth, you won't try to own the earth. Bring back self-respect, that's how real respect is set. If you honor who you are, you won't trample where others stand. Self-respect, hands back, self-respect, self-respect, hands up, stand up. Know yourself, know the line. That's how respect multiplies. Ego loud but the chorus high. pride, no spine to follow. If you don't guard your own soul, you'll cross every boundary you're told. Strength ain't loud, it's self-control. Knowing when to stop, that's power, not show. Look within before you judge. Real respect doesn't shove. When you stand on solid ground, you don't need to push around. Bring back self-respect. Hold the line, no regret. When you know your own value, you don't devalue the rest. Bring back self-respect, that's the truth they can't deflect. If you respect yourself first, you respect the world next. No crown without discipline, no peace without restraint. You don't learn respect by force, you learn it by the weight you can take. Bring back self-respect. Bring it back, self-respect. That's fact. No self-worth, no respect. That's the truth. Connect the set. Bring it back, stand tall, no need to attack. When you know who you are, you don't tear down where others stand. Stand for something, stand for you. That's how respect becomes real, becomes true. Starts inside, spreads out next. This is how we
Hey guys, welcome in.
self-respect.
Let's bring back self-respect. How about, huh? All right, welcome into the Potato Eye Live. Good to have everybody in. It looks like we've got Jared Speaks in the background, if not with us. Appreciate you being here, buddy. Homestead Wench, as always, really appreciate the name and appreciate you being here. Foofy, good to see you. You haven't been around for the last couple streams, so I appreciate you tuning in. I know your situation is hit and miss, so I appreciate when I can get your viewership. Mushmouth Joe, welcome. Always good to see you, man. Wickmoto will be lurking in the background, but I appreciate very much that you'll be listening to me. Homestead Wench, as always, appreciate the like. If you haven't liked the stream, please like the stream. Hit the notification bell so that you get the alerts that I'm on live when I go live, so that you know that I'm live and I don't have to bug you with Discord or whatever. And if you're not part of my Discord, please join my Discord. I believe it's in the description, but if it's not, I'll get it there. TNT, welcome. It's good to see you again, buddy, here. And Apprentice, good to have you. Crucible Crusader, it looks like you'll be lurking as well, but I appreciate you being here. I'm in the background. So today I'm going to be talking about basically what everybody is talking about right now. The incident that happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And my take on it. I kind of waited. It happened right about the time that my last stream happened. So I've been kind of waiting to see what is all involved with it before I put my 2 cents in on it. And as always, I like to start my day out with my inspirational quote. Let me see. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find it right away. The one that I chose today was from Bruce Lee. I fear not the man who practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. That being said, we need to practice the same things that work. Not jump from one thing to the next and think that something is going to hit finally, after we know something that's worked for generations. Let's get down and dirty with all the fraud. Yes, I agree, Foofy. Gamer, good to see you. Appreciate you being here, buddy. TNT, yeah, I like that one too. So we'll go ahead and get started. So I'll start off with a few things that I find a little bit funny. Pumpkinhead, good to see you. Good to have you here, bud. Kind of lighten the mood before we get into the nitty gritty of things. Let me see what I've got here. I found this one really funny. Let me get this paused here, pulled up, and over to the right screen, of course. All right. Volume on. This is just funny. This is just funny.
Hey, let him sleep. Be quiet.
That look on that pup's face, man, it gets me every single time. Freaking cute. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so basically, like I'd mentioned, I'm gonna be reacting to the same things that everybody else has been reacting to, right? But what I'm going to be starting with is a little bit obscure information that hasn't been seen by me, at least in the mainstream. This is by Tim Kramer on Facebook. I haven't come across him on YouTube. I haven't looked for him on YouTube, I guess, now that I think about it. But yeah, Foofy, he rethought his life real quick, didn't he? Anyway, so this particular clip here is from Tim Kramer on Facebook. So if you're not part of Facebook, you may not have seen it. And obviously Gentry Jevers, looks like off of X, has maybe posted this on X. I just haven't come across it there. But I'll go ahead and play it and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Of course, I don't have the volume on. That would help, huh? All right, here we go.
We not gonna, what? We gonna tear this motherfucker up. That's what the fuck has to happen. Does anybody know why we're given the Second Amendment right?
Yeah, to protect ourselves against tyranny, against invaders, against all sorts of different stuff, mainly against this kind of attitude here. So I'm not sure what we've got going on. We've got cameras set up and lights set up. We've got a whole, looks like maybe news crew going on here.
Google it. It's to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. That's true. The police are supposed to be on our side, fighting, pointing their guns at the fucking government. It's the facts.
Easy language. Where I don't disagree that tyrannical government, that's what the Second Amendment's for. We haven't seen an out and out tyrannical government at this point in time yet. This is not a call for action yet.
It's not for hunting. It's not for self-defense. It's to protect ourselves.
Yes, it is for those two. Yes, it is. Very much. We need it to be held for hunting. We can't let it get into the heads that it's not for hunting.
From a tyrannical government. It don't get no worse than this.
Now, before you start commenting about all the things that he got wrong, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. He doesn't care. He just wants vengeance. Like I said, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better.
And that's the concern that I have with this whole incident is we got a lot of call for violence and insurrection and all sorts of things coming from the opposite side. Yet again, it seems like that particular side is the one calling for most of the violence. So I'm not completely sure where we stand on that one there. All right, so let's see. I can't remember if
Hey, let him sleep. Be quiet.
All I had were the clips and on to the main event because we have a lot to cover for that. So let me take a look here, make sure that I've got all my P's and Q's covered. I want to say that there was something else. Yeah, on X. Yeah. So with this incident in Minneapolis, I don't know why it caused this to happen. Sorry about that. But this is in St. Cloud, Minnesota. So not in the same area, but in the same state. So more than likely a trickle down effect. And this kind of I'll just show you what's going on. I'm not sure why all the yelling. We'll just go ahead and mute it. But basically, we've got a pack of what appears to be Somalians advancing on what appears to be 2 ICE agents. Now, where are their backup? This is a very concerning scene that I'm seeing unfolding here. And we'll get into the nitty gritty of what happened in Minneapolis, but this is in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and almost positive this is in conjunction with, tied to it. This is why they've spent so much time with the various labels. They very much do see the government as tyrannical. Yeah. And that's just it, Apprentice. Is the left is definitely sees the government as tyrannical. They think that they have a better solution for it all. But yet when you ask them, they can't really give you a set information of anything. So I don't know what to think about that one. On that same note, though, we've got people that are taking their
from here coming in and telling us what's happening to it, with people who frankly aren't from here coming in and telling us who should be here. And when it comes down to loving my neighbor, I'm just going to love my neighbor. So
you have a little peanut with you.
I do. This is Lola.
She's got her kid with her. And again, I just showed you what's going on in Minnesota, maybe not Minneapolis, but if it's happening, this isn't the government doing that. That was people in the state. ICE will have no control over that. Hey, Pharmacat, welcome in. Thank you very much for joining us here. So let me get back into this.
Why was it important for you to bring her?
Just to feel the energy of love and community, and to show people that I'm not going to let someone else intimidate me to live in a city that doesn't represent.
No, you're using it as manipulation. That's what you're using it for. Let's see where I just saw it. Yeah, TNT, sick woman sacrificing her child for the foreign horde. I mean, this is ludicrous here to take your child into a hot zone at this point in time is nuts to me. And yeah, it just keeps getting worse. Like, I don't know what they're thinking here.
Represent what I wanted to represent. I want to be able to bring her in a place where people are saying we love our neighbors.
Minnesota is, I grew up here, it's known as a very welcoming place. Can you believe your eyes? Can you believe what you're seeing happening on our street?
And this is just gold for her to be getting a time on camera to just voice her opinion about how this is going to be showing the love and the unity instead of the manipulation that she's trying for here.
I mean, no, and also I have to, because if I don't believe it, I'm not going to take action, and I think it's important to stand up for what's right and show up the way that I would want someone to show up for me.
That's amazing. And what's your name?
Where I do agree that we should be showing up, we should be voicing our opinions. If you like a right, you need to be exercising it. I've mentioned this before. Multiple people have mentioned this in the past. If we like our rights, we have to continue to exercise them. So I understand where she's coming from, but the children, there's no place for them in this. But I'll go ahead and get back into what we've started here, and I'll cover a lot of this on a later date here. Don't bring your babies to protests. Exactly, Crucible Crusader. Yeah, there's no place for them. There's no, even if everything went absolutely right and there's no danger for them to be there, there's no need for them to be there either. All right, so we all know Nicole Good was taken out because she decided that she knew better about how to interact with the police, the federal agents. It's not even just police. We're talking about federal agents here. All right, so this is Timcast. I've covered him before. If you haven't checked out Timcast, please go check them out. They have some good takes. They have a couple of guests in on the show today. That's mainly the reason why I brought this one up, is it'll show the like I've mentioned on prior streams, and like Tim mentions in here, the sophistry, the absolute sophistry that we have in the left, and the people that don't want to see the truth in things. Okay, so I'll go ahead and jump right into it.
From the ICE agents who fired the shots in question, we're gonna start by playing the video for you guys so you can watch it for yourself. But it is,
oh, TNT, you know this chick here. Oh my goodness, I have never seen her before, and I honestly never want to see her again, probably. But yet at the same time, I'm going to need to start finding out who she is so that I can understand why people think like this, because this is wild to me.
It is changing a bit of the narrative, and there's a lot to debate on this video and what we're learning. So let's roll the tape.
Plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the
We don't change our plates every morning. Why would you think you have to say that unless you're either in a crowd that does, or you do yourself? And if you're in a crowd that does, isn't that guilty by association to start off with? I mean, so he comes in at the side of the car, so he doesn't approach it from the front, like they mention later that they say he fails in, which he doesn't. He comes at it from the side. She sees him. She knows he's there. That's why they say don't come at the front, because if they don't see and they just take off, or if you're obviously in their line of sight and they want to hit you, then you don't want to be in front of the car. And we'll get to that here in a bit. But the fact of the matter is they're already showing that they're agitators, and they are a cause for an issue to begin with.
same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen. You want to come at us?
Ex-veteran, and she starts bad talk. You know the system. You served the country. If you're ex-military, why are you acting like this? Why are you treating another military force, essentially an officer, like this? He's just trying to do his job in this case, especially. TNT. Yeah, I don't think that they do either, to be completely frank. Like, this is nuts. This is wild. These people are crazy. I don't know why was she here in the first place? There's been multiple people talking about how she is from different state. There's no reason for her to have been here in the first place. And yet here she is causing ruckus and acting like it's nothing. I'm not mad at you. She's saying that to be agitative. She's saying that so that she can get him riled up and so that he'll start something instead of her starting something. I watched another video. She was sitting in the road for about 3 minutes. Crucible. Yeah, I've been watching all sorts of videos, and I don't think I'll be able to find the ones that I want to. I've seen like 50 videos of this incident, trying to get to the bottom of it, because honestly, the first day that I saw this, it was pretty much a wrapped case for me. I saw one, I mean, it just out and out tags him, takes off, she just takes off and she hits him. I know she does. And this chick says it's subjective, but we'll get into it. I would give up my rights to vote to keep them from voting. Homestead Wench, I salute you, ma'am. We need more people that are willing to stand up for what's right. I'm not saying that well, the 19th Amendment, I believe it's just for rights for everyone to vote. I understand that it's the right that gave women the right to vote. But we need to roll back voting. Whether that be to repeal the 19th in order to do that, then I guess so be it. But we need to roll back voting because these kinds of people, there should be some kind of restriction to not allow them this much freedom to act like this in public and to get paid for it. Because there's another video that I watched of people in a different protest out and out admitting that they're getting paid at the time. Now, they could have just been agitative, it's speculative, but this is, who is paying for this kind of stuff? How did she know to come from across state lines to be here, to be in this protest, to be in the situation that she's in? It's crazy how many on the other side claim that I'm not mad at you means no way the officer could have feared for his life. Exactly, Apprentice. That's exactly. Just because she says she's not mad doesn't mean she's not planning something in her head. Fake it till you make it. That's a thing. That's a very big thing, right? All right, we'll get back into this. We've got a lot to cover for this, so we'll see if we can get it.
You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Again, getting agitative.
Out the car.
And then it jumped back toward the car. As soon as he says to get out of the car, she goes back toward the car.
Out of the car.
Oh! And there it is. So he obviously gets pushed back, connects with the car. You can hear him slap the hood of the car. Now, I think his phone, because he's holding his phone, recording everything, I think that the phone is what you hear slap the car, and that's why it's so loud. Because she doesn't move. She's not moving that fast, right? So there's a bunch of people saying that, well, she's not moving that fast. It couldn't have been that big of a problem for him to be worried about his safety. That's not true. A car weighs 2,000 pounds. 2,000 pounds. This is an SUV, which means it's going to be ranging upward to 3,000, 4,000 pounds of weight. If anything were to have gone differently, he were to have caught his clothes. If he were to have tripped and fell, anything could have caused him to get seriously injured in that case. So many people admitting to being paid. Also, how do they know where the ICE officers stay at someone? Is someone obviously tells them where the hotels are? Yeah, Terrazactyl. Exactly. Welcome in. I appreciate you joining the stream here, buddy. That's exactly it. Like, there is so many people that they've caught on video admitting that they're being paid for this kind of stuff. Acceleration and velocity are two vastly different things. People don't understand physics. Exactly. Jared, that's a very good point. They talk about how the ICE officers aren't allowed to shoot at a moving vehicle. Now, if they're at a distance and they're moving toward them and they have time to react, I can understand the need to be hesitant to pull the firearm. But when you're right up on top of that vehicle, it's really hard to say, I'm not this acceleration, like Jared is saying, this acceleration and velocity. As soon as she starts to pick up speed, if he didn't get out of the way than he did, and she picked up velocity and she picked him up on the hood and she crashed him into that other car, there's a lot that could have happened in this case. There's a reason that it's called vehicular manslaughter. Exactly, Pumpkinhead. And they'll talk about that here in a bit here too.
Fucking bitch.
Ooh. Did he say fucking bitch?
Sure did.
Holy shit.
You just got hit by a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's dead.
You can't help that.
We don't know who
let's play
said
again real
that.
quick. There's a couple
We
things
can't
to
really
point-
honestly say who honestly said that. But yeah, it is a little concerning if he had the consciousness to be able to say that afterwards. You know, I don't know, but there were two ICE officers right there at the time, right? There was the one ICE officer in the front and the one on the side. So it could have been the one on the side that said that.
And Phil pointed out, it sounds like the wife says, drive, baby, drive, drive. Try and listen. And I'm not sure that's exactly what she's saying.
Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car. Oh!
Yeah, did you hear that? It sure sounds like, to me at least, and obviously to them, drive, baby, drive, drive. Like she's telling her to accelerate right then and to go at that moment. That is inciting, absolutely, as far as I'm concerned. But if I don't know if she would have chosen to do that without her wifey telling her to do it. But either way, her wifey should be held accountable for this kind of stuff because, again, it's on camera. The government has better technology than I do to be able to hear this kind of stuff, so they'll be able to hear it.
It sounded like she said, drive, baby, drive, drive. You can also hear his body slap the hood, or it sounds like it's hitting the hood of the car.
There's two things going on at the same time. It's body hitting the hood and the first shot goes off at that.
Yeah, so like I said, I think it's the phone hitting the hood. She's not moving quite fast enough to really think that he comes down on that hood hard enough to really make a noise, but that phone, him catching himself on the hood, slapping that hood, I can see that making that noise. And then him pulling his gun, him having to change to be able to pull his weapon. But the fact that he knows it's coming.
It's about a second and a half, maybe.
Can you hear the?
Yeah, so a second and a half is all his reaction time. I salute this ICE agent, to be completely frank, because he has the situational awareness to be able to draw his firearm with his phone in his hand, recording the evidence that he did, and be able to nullify the threat essentially in the time frame that he did. 3 shots in under a second and a half is fairly impressive. I'm not gonna lie, guys.
You hear a squeal of the tires played again?
Get out of the car. Oh!
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, not squeal of the tires, but
Just like that. About a second and a half.
Yeah.
so we'll kind of jump
matter
forward
what's
here,
true?
so we can kind of get into again the sophistry that we talked about. Again, there's 2 hours. This is a 2 hour and 13 hour interview here. If you haven't seen it, check it out. The Timcast IRL is a good show. Dano, thank you very much for the engagement. Welcome in. I appreciate you joining me here. But we'll see what this young woman has to say for I really wish I could think of where I saw this other video. I'm pretty sure it's on X, so maybe I'll try to find it while we're watching this. But it's literally like you can see the dude like get plowed out of the way. There's really no way that you can say that he didn't get hit. And again, if it wasn't icy at the time and him able to slide like he does, he would have dropped. He would have gotten run over. There's so many things that could have gone wrong in this.
Well, I mean, it's always what you prove in court.
No. We're not even there anymore. Like they didn't even prove that Trump committed a crime in the fraud cases. Does it matter?
I mean, to your point, no, I guess.
We are well beyond legal.
And see, that's it's kind of off subject, but with the fraud cases with Trump, they love to pull these things that they didn't ever really get him on anything, because Tim talks to someone, and it might be in this one, and it might be a different one, about how you have to have an underlying crime to be able to hold those as the felonies that they did, and there was no underlying crime. So I don't know how they continue to do this kind of stuff. The vehicle did bump him regardless of speed. He made a split-second decision. Exactly, Crucible Crusader. In their line of work, you don't have the luxury of time, especially if you're against the hood of the vehicle. And because of the way that the interaction went down with her wifey, he was kind of pushed in front of you can't get too close or let them get too close to you as an officer. So he had to keep his distance, and then it got him in front of the vehicle, which unfortunately it is what it is with that. But that's where she's literally being detained. The other officer is saying, get out of the vehicle. She heard him. You can clearly hear him on the tape. He's further away from the officer that's saying that than she was. She should have been able to hear it. She should have immediately complied, put it into park, not drive and squealed the tires. That was another vehicle or another video that I watched. You can see that tire spin on that ice. Again, if it had not been icy and she had knocked him over, this would have been a lot different of a case. Would the left have treated it any different though?
Legal machinations. Now it's literally just exertions of authority and power.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think most people on the left are even going to see this video. Like, the resistance is already underway.
What do you think?
I think this only makes ice look worse, in my opinion.
And there it is. It just makes ice look worse. Worse. Again, she tries to pull the rule book out, but it doesn't make sense because in the rule book, it says, unless you're in immediate danger. Again, with the car being that close, like Jared Speaks says, acceleration and velocity are two vastly different things. People don't understand the physics that are involved with those two things. So for this girl to sit there and watch the videos and broke down, like all these people in this panel are breaking it down like step for step for this girl, and she's still. Now, I think it makes ice look worse. What?
For a few reasons. One, I don't think this is not me saying that Renee Good driving away from officers that have asked her to stop or have told her to get out and disobey and not just complying with their orders is a good idea. I'm strictly talking about, does this constitute a rise to the level of a reasonable person's understanding of what constitutes imminent threat or likelihood of death? I don't think so. I think this proves that it's very clear that she was attempting to do a 3-point turn or move away the opposite direction of the officer, not trying to accelerate towards him or charge towards him. I think that she had a calm demeanor, even as she's smiling, and yes, she's doing so like to taunt him, I suppose. But one, I don't think that constitutes a threat in and of itself. She's saying, I'm not mad. She's clearly turning right to get away from the officer. So I don't see where the kind of imminent death.
What about drive,
threat.
baby, drive?
Yeah. What about that? What about the drive, baby, drive, right? And then this was the video that I was thinking that I had saved, which I'm glad I do have it saved. So we'll take a look at this one. And this one is at a different angle, obviously. And like I've said, I've seen 50 different angles of this video. But this one, it's kind of grainy. But it's pretty obvious what happens in this video here.
And then I saw her face.
Sorry. So you can see, I mean, if he hadn't, like, the way he slides to the side, the way he hits that hood and slides to the side. Yeah, the biggest thing is again, it mentions how she turns the wheel and it's like, oh, she's trying to get away from him, but it almost looks like she turns the wheel toward him and starts driving toward him, because in another angle, and they might cover that angle in this video, but she backs up, and then she turns her wheel and goes back toward the ICE officer. So I don't understand how they think that she was trying to get away. And again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because even if you were trying to get away, you were being detained. At that point in time, you're fleeing a officer of the law.
Drive.
Did she say that, or did the other person say that?
But it sounds like you're making a lot of assumptions about her intent. If she had just complied with the officer to begin with, we wouldn't be
based. Exactly. Like, I'm not one to talk. I've been in my fair share of run-ins with the law, and I'm not proud of them. But when I do get my fair share, I comply. I play the game. I give them the respect that they deserve. They're putting their life on the line, especially these poor immigration officers that go out there every single day and are just literally trying to do their job to the best of their abilities to be able to make sure that our country stays the strong, prominent, powerful nation that we hold dear, that we all love the freedoms of, love the independence that we have here in the United States, love the income that we all get to enjoy instead of the capitalism or the communism that the left continues to try to push down our throats, that you shouldn't own anything and you should be happy doing it. We need to have respect for our law enforcement, where I do agree that there should be some regulations when it comes to our law enforcement and the way that they can pull their firearm as easily as they can. And in most cases is a different case than what we're talking about now. If you're literally against the hood of a car and they start to accelerate, you don't know their intention. It doesn't matter what they said. Oh, I'm not mad. It's fine. You can hide your face. Please show it to me so that I can dox you, but you can hide it. It's fine. I'm not mad at you until you get in front of my car, and then it becomes a different story. This doesn't make sense that it's still a debate a week later, to be completely honest with you guys.
Asking
Of course,
all
but
these
even
questions.
outside of that point, intent is completely immaterial. It's a vehicle is heading towards you. That's it.
I mean,
her intention, I think, was to flee. I think but it's reckless disregard for the life of the officer.
Do you
which
still
constitutes
think
an
it
assault.
was in the earlier debate we had? You said that you thought she was attempting to murder him with the vehicle.
No,
Based
no.
on this now, I
did
might
not.
be misremembering. What did
Yeah.
you say?
So what I said was yesterday in my morning show. So let's go back in time. The first thing I said was she's clearly attempting to flee, and she hit the officer. Then we went on the show and we analyzed all the footage, and I was like, you can see the tires spin out in his direction. So then in the morning yesterday, I said, I think she actually was intending to hit him. Then we reviewed more footage and other angles, and I said, I don't think she wanted to kill the officer. I think she was trying to flee, but didn't care if she did kill the officer.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah. Like Jared says, she wasn't acting aggressive at all. Right up until the point she hit him with a car, with an SUV. Like I'd mentioned before, a car, a little, Civic, they weigh 2,000 pounds. This thing is going to weigh upwards 3,000, 4,000 pounds for this sucker that she's driving. And she starts to pick up speed enough to spin tires on the asphalt. Yes, I understand it was ice. But the point of the matter is she spun the tires. She hit the gas so hard. She was trying to get up and go. Why? Again, is she trying to flee? She was being detained. So if you have nothing to hide, like they kept saying, oh, it's fine, I'm not mad at you. So why didn't you just shut the car off, get out of the car and say, yeah, you got me, officer. I'm sorry, I won't do it again, then do it again because we all know you're gonna. This isn't the first time we've seen you doing it. So again, what was she doing here from out of state?
so I think we're seeing the same thing right now. And this actually, I think, backs up what I'm saying. She's clearly trying to flee, but she's looking dead at the officer. She knows he's there. He walked in her car. She specifically said, it's okay, I'm not mad at you. She knows he's filming her. She knows he's around the car. Then you hear the other woman say, drive, baby, drive, drive. Look at her. She's staring right at him right now.
Yeah, but
she's
does
looking
a stare rise to the level of a reasonable
awareness.
person being able to think
awareness
that they're
that she's piloting a vehicle, and from here's a timestamp. From 40 seconds is when the car begins to accelerate to 41. In 1 second, he's struck.
Well, I'm not disputing that it's accelerating, but she's clearly doing a bunch of turns because she's maneuvering the vehicle's
point is,
wheel all the.
She does a bunch of turns. She backs up, turns toward the officer. She does a bunch of turns, but she does 2 turns, which turned her into the officer. I don't understand where this girl is getting her thought process from. Obscuring traffic and interfering with federal investigation. Exactly, Jared. Exactly. She was obscuring traffic, regardless of the fact that she aimed at the cop, like TNT is saying. She saw him, like Tim is mentioning. She saw him. She turned her wheels toward him and she directly went to him. Now, whether that was in her mind, yes, I'm going to plow this guy over, or if it was just like, hey, they do it all the time with us, so we're going to do it back. Just hold the hood and run backwards like you make us do, right? I've seen a bunch of the liberals doing that, thinking that they're Hulk or something like that. Maybe in her mind, playing devil's advocate, that's what she was thinking. Doesn't matter. You don't get to do the same thing that the law enforcement does. They get better. They get more privileges because they've gone through what they need to become the law enforcement. Two things. Law enforcement doesn't go around taking people out. And two, his gun was holstered till she hits the accelerator at him. Yes, Homestead Wench. Exactly. He wasn't being aggressive. He was just taking evidence. It wasn't until she accelerated that he took action, and he was, as far as I'm concerned, was completely and utterly justified in doing so. And it mentions later, and I don't know if I'll have time to cover it because we're already almost an hour in, but they talk about how he could possibly be dealing with PTSD from the incident. So this officer, if you didn't know already, 6 months ago was hit. He was trying to get a illegal, I believe, and he punched out the back window. The aggressor took off and he caught it. He got his arm caught in the window and was dragged for a certain amount of time. Well, with that being said, that could potentially cause some PTSD. But the thing is he was never diagnosed with PTSD. And why would we do that to an officer and say that he's traumatized when he's not traumatized? He just realizes the deadliness that a vehicle can then be because he got his arm almost ripped off, right? That doesn't necessarily mean it was traumatizing. It just means he realized, he understands the necessity of making sure he has some consciousness when this vehicle comes to a stop. Again, preservation is necessary with the police officers. We need them just as much as we need each other. Just Me, you see, welcome in. I appreciate you joining the stream. Really appreciate you being here and engaging with us. In her defense, years ago, my wife took out a carport post when parking because she thought the car and the pole would just move around each other. TNT. If that's serious, that's funny. They say 100 men or 100 women versus accountability, right? All right, so let's jump forward because like I said, we're almost an hour in and we're not going to want to cover this whole thing. I don't want to miss too much good information, but we'll see here.
This individual, so all else being equal,
the answer
but
is
instead
simply
of
yes.
this individual, it's you.
That's the point I'm
with
making.
6 months of trauma. You're saying
no, you don't.
Yeah, here it is.
Any other way?
I've already said yes.
So yes, you would have acted the exact same way if you'd had the traumatic event 6 months earlier.
The
You couldn't have done
presumption
anything
is
else.
so the presumption is the reason why I am saying he is acting this way is because I believe any person, any rational, normal person who suffers a grievous injury being dragged by a vehicle after being hit head on
6 months earlier,
very recent, would have the same reaction, which includes
Including
myself,
yourself.
because my
That's where
perception
we-
of behavior is.
So again, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have PTSD, but our officers, our military, they all go through serious, rigorous training to get through these kind of incidences without trauma. So why would we give so little credit to our officers that are doing this to say, oh, it gave them trauma, instead of saying, no, it actually was, he learned, he understands that a deadly weapon is a car, like Pumpkinhead mentioned earlier, a car can be labeled as manslaughter. this can happen. So he saw it. He understood it. He's not going to play that game again, right? That's really what it boils down to. Hey, Mrs. D, appreciate you coming in and engaging. Really appreciate it. Just me, I really appreciate the subscription. And we'll go ahead and get back into this for a minute.
Based on my perceptions. It's projection. I believe that were I to have been rammed and dragged, I would react similarly to this cop. Yes.
And I rammed and dragged 6 months earlier.
So again, I'm not disagreeing with Tim. I would probably react the same way. And as most anyone would, seeing the danger that they are in, not the trauma that they went through. I understand that's a capability, a possibility, but I'm not giving him that little of credit to think that he saw it as trauma and not, I understand what I need to do next time.
Very recent. That means he was in the hospital 4 months ago.
I'm not saying it's not recent. I'm just underscoring that when you say rammed and dragged, you're not referring to anything that happened around this incident. You're talking about something that happened 6 months before.
He was rammed.
The vehicle made contact with him.
Yes.
Maybe. From what I saw, I did from the
maybe. And I understand I showed you guys another angle that they didn't necessarily show, but how can she say that? And they break it down, and I hope that we go over it, and I didn't skip it, but she talks about how she watched an editorial from the Times News of 2 different angles being shown, and she couldn't tell that he got hit because she didn't listen to the audio of them breaking it down and talking about it. And then they show the editorial, and it's literally like they box him in and show him he gets hit in that video, and she still tries to deny it. I don't get it. Mrs. D, I appreciate that. Yeah, the likes, it looks like everybody's liked the stream. I really appreciate everybody doing that. Just me, thank you very much for reminding me. If you haven't gone to the top and gone and changed from top chat to all chat or live chat or all messages, I'm even bad about that. Like, I literally just changed all that. So thank you again very much for reminding me, because I'll probably not do it unless I'm reminded. And I don't want to miss out on people's chats. I really appreciate it, people being here. And I don't want you to feel like you're being ignored.
New York Times analysis that I
said
saw,
it appears he was struck.
That was not. I didn't read.
They literally said it.
I didn't read the editorialization or listen to it.
No, they literally said from the video it appears the officer was struck.
I'm not disputing that. Maybe they said that. I'm saying I only watched it. I didn't listen to any of the editorialization. I didn't have the captions on.
What are you talking about?
So just from the consolidated.
Yeah. So they'll just about to bring it up. Yeah. So just me. I agree. She's utterly annoying. Like, I've watched this over and over and over so that I can kind of break it down and kind of give you a gist of what's going on. And I like I said, I don't know if I'll ever be able to watch her seriously ever again. Mrs. D, she got presented with further evidence proving that was at fault and still doubled down on the retard. Yeah, like, that's just it. Is like, it's so obvious. And I understand how much can you believe of video evidence with the AI and all that's going on out there nowadays. But this is straight from ICE, his phone, his body cam, all collaborate together and show. This is where he brings up a video, and he doesn't bring up the editorial yet, but this is where it really shows he does get connected.
Watch the magic officer's feet slide on the ground right here. You see his feet?
We're not supposed to be looking at the.
I'll give Tim this. He can make a joke every once in a while, but that's just it. Is you can see this officer slide again. If it hadn't been for this ice, that ICE officer, would have fallen back and would have either gotten his leg crushed, possibly more damage done. He did not want to have the same thing happen. And you can call it trauma. You can call it wising up, whatever you want to call it. But he didn't want it to happen again. And again, you can see here as Tim goes back and forth, there's no movement of his feet to be where he's stepping back. that is him sliding on that ice as that car pushes him forward.
Same time.
Is this not footage of the incident?
I'm not saying it's not footage.
You want me to play an editorialized video where they're arguing?
You don't have to listen to the editorial. You can play it on mute.
You want the video itself is editorialized.
I want you.
And that's the other thing is I agree with Tim here. If it's edited by a oppositional person, how can I guarantee that it's going to show the whole information with context and a whole bit? We all do clips. They love their clips. The left clip chimps are all over the place, and they love to clip it out of context. So why can I guarantee, or how can I guarantee that it's not going to be clipped out of context, showing exactly what you want to show and not what I need to see? I'm here to get out of my echo chamber. I want to see all of them. That's why I went down the rabbit hole the last week, and I've spent 50 different videos trying to see different angles to make sure I know what I'm talking about with this.
To pull up the video and you can play it on
I'll pull
mute.
up their source videos for you.
Why won't you play that video?
Because editorialized. Because they edited the footage.
I think now you're the one who actually won't show it because it might
I've already
pull apart
showed it.
your
I showed it
argument.
15 times.
Oh, Mrs. D, they're calling for AI. They're saying these are AI. Oh, man. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Accountability, he really needs to come back. I don't understand how the left is sitting there. I'm not condoning the passing of this woman. I want that to be very clear. I'm not sitting here celebrating that there's somebody that has passed. Just like with Rob Reiner, when he passed, I condone the action. I condone the passing of this woman, but it wasn't the ICE officer's fault. If she was at home with her kids that they keep loving to pull on us, oh, she's a wife with kids, blah, 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 blah. If she was at home with her kids, she wouldn't be in this situation. And instead, now we've got people bringing kids to the situation. What's that about? All right, let's get back into it.
And showed it for a 16th
You're
time.
asking me to pull up editorialized, edited video to prove your point.
Sure.
How about we pull up the
Not
source
to prove
material?
my point, to disprove my point. Because you're saying
what's the problem with the source material?
A spell was cast and it like slid him back. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities on the table.
I mean,
a spell was cast.
But I'll even grant.
That's funny. Okay, so maybe right here. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So here they bring up.
Cops now?
Coming in contact.
I mean, to be honest, the left always.
As long as we're nice to them, we can hit cops now? What?
Shooting somebody in a car.
Okay, so did it.
Stop.
Now we're moving the goalpost.
Maybe I missed it.
How?
Because.
Long story short, like I say, on the editorial, they boxed it in. So how she didn't see it that they hit him, I will never know. Regardless of whether she listened to them talking or not, it is very much, if you watch that video, you see him move because of that vehicle pushing him forward. Again, if it wasn't for the fact that he did not have traction, he was able to slide back. Maybe he would have been able to jump up on the hood and float across the ground, not be severely damaged while he took the shot. But his feet were firmly on the ground and were pushed back. She hit him. Let's see.
You're like talking about, well, how does shooting someone in a car? But it doesn't matter. The point is, he was hit by the car.
She loves to just kind of move the goalpost. Oh, well, why this? Well, why that? Instead of just contending with the points that they're giving her. And this gentleman here, I can't. I'm terrible with names. I'm a potato. What can we say? But this guy here, he gets very frustrated with her, like all of us. But he calls her out for it and says, just contend with the argument. Stop trying to move the goalpost.
It does matter because his training and his policy, as per DHS and ICE, is that you're not supposed to be in front of a vehicle, and that shooting at an individual in a vehicle does not actually eliminate a deadly threat coming your way.
Yes, TNT. Thank you very much, Phil Labonte. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't religiously watch this. I just know that every once in a while there's some good clips from Timcast. I think Apprentice mentioned earlier, the 13-hour podcast, apparently I don't watch those. So I just get these 2-hour or 30-minute clips and use them when I can. Because I just don't have the time yet to be watching 13 hours of someone talk about politics. The debates and things like that, they're a little bit more interesting, as we all know, right? All right.
Away from
That's not
somebody
what it
in a
says.
vehicle.
It's that you can't, and we went over this with Dave, who pulled up the actual exclusions, and it was, you can only use lethal force against a vehicle if the vehicle is being driven in a way that constitutes a threat of great bodily harm or death
This
to you or
is
others.
from NBC. The way ICE officers approached the vehicle involved in today's shooting was counter to their training, a senior Department of Homeland Security official told NBC News. The official said ICE officers are trained, 1, never to approach a vehicle from the front.
He didn't.
2, to approach vehicles or possibly armed people in a tactical 90-degree angle to prevent injury or crossfire. 3,
Yeah.
not to shoot at a moving vehicle. 4, only to use force if there is immediate risk of serious injury or death. ICE
You shouldn't have even said that right there. Immediate risk of bodily threat, injury, death. She was literally right there. Again, the way that it played out, the way that the other wifey was talking to him and kind of getting up in his face, he had to move around that vehicle just so that he was right on that hood. If he had stepped back a couple of steps, as soon as you start stepping back, you show them, or they think that you're showing them, weakness. And they think that they can start advancing on you. Just like the video of all the Somalians or whatever the group of people that were advancing on those 2 ICE officers. Again, it was just 2 ICE officers against 50 in that crowd. So there's no way that they could have done anything. But if they had held their ground, it might not have been able to get to that point. But if they'd held their ground, it might have just started even more of a danger, right? So it really boils down to what they feel in the moment. And what he felt in the moment was very much of a threat as the car starts to pick him off the ground and push him forward. Yeah, I'd be a little bit concerned too.
officers are also instructed that firing at a vehicle will not make it stop moving in the direction of the officer.
Yeah, TNT. I remember the video of the Christmas parade hit that runs a few years ago. Cars are super deadly. Yeah, I don't know if Mushmouth Joe is still in the chat, but we know all about that incident on that one for sure. Crucible, thanks for reading the rules before he did right. Yeah, exactly.
And what was that part about if it's going to cause bodily harm or death?
Only use force if there's an immediate risk of serious
Which,
injury
once
or
again,
death.
we're back to all of this just being
But again,
opinion
ICE
statements.
officers are instructed that firing at a vehicle will not make it stop moving in the direction of an officer.
Again, we're talking about if they're standing there and a vehicle is coming at them from a distance, they don't want to just tag the person and have that continue toward them and hit them where the person has passed, and they're still going to get ultimately deleted too. So yes, I understand that rule in general, but this isn't the case where he's far enough away to be able to step to the side or be able to think about it long enough to say, I don't have to draw my weapon for this, whatever the case is, right? Yeah, Mushmouth, Daryl Brooks. I couldn't think of the name, but yeah, that one. It definitely showed us that a vehicle can be used as a deadly weapon. And if you're being accelerated on top of, that's pretty concerning in the moment.
So again, my point was, even if the car made contact with the officer,
that's fine. He's
my
a
point
retard.
is, even if the car
Retard with a
made
gun.
contact with the officer, that does not mean that shooting at that person or using deadly force in this instance would be justified.
How that's where it really starts to just flabbergast me, because she literally says the car hitting him doesn't constitute immediate danger. Yeah, it does. Because again, if you lift that person, that velocity starts to pick up, and you pick that person up and you slam them against another vehicle, yeah, it's immediate danger. Because it was really quick that she ran into that other vehicle when she was gone. So it wouldn't have taken her very much to be able to slam him into that vehicle if she chose to. And in the moment, you cannot guarantee what their idea is.
Right.
And then
So-
this is
so the
still
point
not
is he's
even
retarded?
getting. This is still not even getting to the fact that he shot her 2 more times after.
In
a span of a fraction of a second, those other 2 shots go off, because it's like as the phone or whatever hits the hood, that first shot goes off almost. It's not even like you almost don't hear 3 shots in the video. You only hear 2 essentially, and whatever hits the hood. So again, very impressed by this officer's reaction time. Not many people can get shots off in under a second. Trust me. So again, him having the ability to fire off 3 rounds in a span of a second and a half is impressive. It's not something that it was like, oh, bam, oh, bam, oh, bam. No, it was boom, boom, boom. Like shots fired, done and over with.
the span of a second.
The side, yes.
Yeah, in the span of
later
1
in
second
time,
after getting
correct.
hit, he
His
goes
time is
1, 2,
linear.
3. Right?
Trupp and others said the federal agent was hit by the SUV, often pointing to another video filmed from a different angle. And it's true that at this moment in this grainy low-resolution footage, it does look like the agent is being struck by the SUV.
It does look like it? How can it look like it? I mean, okay, yeah. With AI and everything, who knows? Videos, it's real hard. It's really easy to manipulate nowadays, but this is very obvious to me that he was pummeled by this vehicle. And if it hadn't have been for the ice and the situation and the fact that he was on the headlight, essentially, he wouldn't probably have been able to survive this. Because who was it? I just saw it. Even a leg at 5 miles an hour can be deadly. Yeah, there it is. Crucible Crusader. Even a 5 mile an hour leg getting caught under the tire can turn deadly. Exactly. Again, it doesn't matter what the situation was. The intent was, if I go and I fall asleep at the wheel and I plow through people, it doesn't matter if my intent was I was asleep. It just matters that I was behind that wheel and I took out those people. So she tries to pull the intent matters and all this. And when it comes to unaliving people, intent is very finicky. Truth and fact does not exist for the left. Yeah, Foofy. I can't argue with you there. Unfortunately, for some reason, as I've tried defending, I've tried giving the benefit of the doubt, and I'll still extend my hand for anyone who will willingly listen to me, and I will debate you. I will try to explain my side to you. I will have discussions. I will do whatever I can to save you the pain that is coming. Because there's another videos that I probably won't be able to find because I want to, and I can't when I want to, right? But there's videos that show ICE officers going up to people that are honking their horn and trying to cause disruption. And they're literally being polite and they're saying, hey, you don't want to do that. Please go home so we don't have to cause an incident like this to happen. And they literally sit there and just smile because they know if they can get them riled up, they'll be on the news and they'll get their 15 minutes of fame. Instead of going out there and just doing your due diligence to have your 15 minutes of fame. I know I'm nothing. I'm a potato. I call myself a potato. But I get my 15 minutes of fame, right? I know it's only 6 people that are probably watching me, but I get to be my own person. This is what we need to be doing to be our own people. This idea that we go out and we just join the crowd, we all get tattoos together, and we all become our own entities. You just literally just became all the same thing. Stand out. Think for yourself. Step back and say, is this really the way that I want my kids' future to be?
Looks like
it does indeed look like he's being struck by the SUV.
After?
That he wasn't run over. Agreed. Trump was wrong or lied when he said he was run over. That never happened.
Right.
But
yeah, I didn't hear Trump say that, but if Trump said that, absolutely lie, did not happen. He might have just been mistaken if he wasn't lying. I'm not calling him a liar. I'm just saying that it's definitely did not happen that way. But for sure that ICE officer was totally and utterly justified. Again, I don't agree with them in this Timcast where he was PTSD and he should have been taken off of duty. I don't agree with that. I think that he should have been evaluated. I do agree with that. But if he wasn't found by a actual psychiatrist to be PTSD ridden, I don't believe he should have been taken off of duty. In fact, he might have even been better to be on duty because now he has more situational awareness. Tyler, good to see you, man. I appreciate you being here and engaging with me. All right, so let's see. We'll jump forward here because now we're getting pretty close to being ended. And we've got another hour and a half on this thing. So they start talking about another ICE incident we all probably know about. Kilmar Garcia Abriga, whatever his name was, right? And we deported him, quote unquote, in error. Wasn't in error. It was absolutely and utterly legitimate from what I understand. Again, I could be a potato in this, but let's take a look and see if I hit the right mark here, at least.
He'll be like, we can't obstruct justice or pretend like he won't say, I'm going to cooperate. He's just not going to tell them, get in the way of them being extradited.
So here's the thing. States never send law enforcement to other states for law enforcement. They use the feds for that. So
point that you're talking
prevent
about
prosecution.
But
doxing them and threatening them, congratulations. We're going to work even harder to enforce the law. If the DOJ, the federal government,
I fully behind JD Vance in that. If you're threatening the officers, we need to be better about getting behind our officers, not trying to defund them or whatever else they want to pull with that garbage. We need to be funding them more. If anything, we should be giving them more access to training, more access to a indoor firing range if they don't have one. More ability to understand what they have to do instead of what they can do, what they can do instead of what they have to do. I think that's probably the better way of putting it. But this idea that one ICE officer does something that doesn't hit home right for everybody, and all of a sudden now we have to defund all of them. And it's like, no, I have had in my family officers that have done more for their community than anyone else in the community, including probably the governor, the mayor, whatever. The way that the police force used to be was it used to be they cared. They wanted to be there because they wanted to protect the people. Now, unfortunately, it's more of they just follow orders. The orders are the law, not protecting the people, protecting the law, right? But when it really boils down to it, people want to help each other. So regardless of what the textbook tells us to do, we need to be there for each other. But we can't be there for the whole world. We have to watch out for our own first.
DHS, Vance, Trump, whoever you want to name, Kristi Noem, allows this cop to be prosecuted in Minnesota, ICE is going to quit en masse, and the Trump administration.
And that's another thing is if the federal courts hold this ICE officer accountable for this, yes, Minneapolis is going to try to hold their laws, their statutes, whatever against him with that. But if the government allows that to be prosecuted to the fullest extent or whatever, we could be looking at ICE officers in mass everywhere dipping out and saying, if you're not going to support us, why would we support you? And that's, again, why I say we need to be funding our police force even more, if anything, because we need them to be looking out for us first and not for their pocketbook first. All right, so I jumped back a little bit, obviously too far. We'll see if I can find it. We'll just kind of jump for an hour here. We'll see what we got.
Pull him from the state.
So we only got about 45
like arrest
minutes.
him, put him in a vehicle, and drive him there. Do you think they should?
Yeah, of course.
So, that being the case, what do you think Florida law enforcement would do if Minnesota law enforcement entered extra jurisdictional territory to apprehend
moral?
Yes.
Yeah. The correct thing to do,
quite
yes.
literally, we can't prosecute him. Like, and the only way to prosecute someone for federal action would be political.
No, I'm talking about morality.
That's what I'm saying.
Not legally.
I'm just saying, like, even in the sense of morality, I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna.
Tyler, she was shushed by Tim one time. Another time she asked the crazy lady something and she never answered the question. Yeah, that's that. I don't know who the other base chick is, but she asks her a question and she just shushes her. She tells her to shush. I don't even want to talk to you. Basically, it was just freaking ridiculous. Like, I don't know what her problem is. Hey, his words of love. Really good to see you. Appreciate you coming in and engaging with us here.
Immigration was a top issue, and Trump won, and the Republicans won everything. That doesn't mean everyone in the country agrees with it, but the American voter, democracy, has spoken. So Trump is now carrying out the will of the American voter, and the way it works is if you got a problem with it, you vote in the midterms and you vote in the next election. In the meantime, this is democracy in action. To subvert that, as the activists are doing, politicized what the American people voted for. After the fact, it just is political.
I think there's things in tension with that because, yes, Americans did vote for Donald Trump, and he obviously ran on mass deportation. So you were co-signing that policy, most likely, if you voted for him. But I think most Americans also care about the rule of law. They care about the Constitution. And so when they voted for that, they assumed that the mass deportation program would be carried out in conformity with the Constitution.
It is.
And there have been multiple instances where people's due process rights are violated.
Oh.
People are...
I'm just a potato. So I don't really know. Obviously, I'm not in the thick of it. Neither is she. So I can't really speak a whole lot. But our laws are the only thing that we can really go off of. And they don't say that they're allowed to do this. So if this is actually going on, then we need checks and balances in the government. The people sitting here whining and complaining that the brown people are getting deported when they're illegals, it is what it is. If they're not illegal, if they're not here past their due, like she keeps saying, it's not that they come here illegally, it's that they come on visas and those visas expire. That means that they're now illegal. So whether they came illegally or they're now illegally here, it doesn't change the fact that you have every case, every chance to do the paperwork, do your due diligence to become a citizen, to then go through the process to pay your taxes, to do what you have to do to feed back into the system, like all of us have to do.
What's her name? Ozturk, Mahmoud Khalil, Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Hold on. You cited two examples of constitutional movements.
Yeah, they're due process. Like Kilmar Abrego Garcia was labeled a terrorist by the Trump administration before he had even been found.
What does due process mean?
Due process means not having, how do I put this into words? Due process is people being given the chance to make their case.
Incorrect.
Before.
That's not correct.
Well, hold on. Before you correct me, my understanding is that people's due process has to do with them being able to be given a fair shot if the state acts against them.
That's not what due process is. Due process is...
Which is to say, make their case, it's brought to a, to a judge and who is a neutral...
Due process is not a proper noun. It's a generic term, literally meaning... We can stop saying the phrase due process because people think it's a proper phrase, like a proper noun, like it cites law. It's literally...
Yeah, that's just it. It doesn't, it's not citing anything specific. It is just literally do means this is what is needed for this process, and process, which is the process that the person is found to be in the wrong or in the right. And in this case, like I've mentioned before, it's like your house, your door. Your door is your border. You don't just leave that open for them to just come in whenever they want to. And if they do come in whenever they want to, they get pew-pewed. They don't get to just go about doing it. In fact, there was another video I was just watching the other day that was actually pretty funny. And it was a guy that came up and was a trans, what was it? Dang it. Indigenous. There we go. Trans indigenous. That he owned the land that this lady's house was on. So she needed to wrap her and get out. And she's like, no. He's like, but that's the way you see it. So how is it not that way? And she just got all peeved. The goose, the gander. I don't understand. No, it's the process due under the law. People just connect it to the courts because it's normally what we see. Yeah, Jared speaks. Yeah. So it is. I mean, yes, it is a due. The process is due for the people under the law. Again, the Constitution gives you the right to the process that we need to have. We don't have to just sit in a cell somewhere. We have the right to be processed through. Like other countries, they just sit and rot in a cell forever. We have that process. We have that luxury, but it applies to the people who are here legally. And again, this is stolen land, but what land has not been stolen throughout the ages? Through conquest. This is our land. It's our land. At this point in time, it is what it is.
Just a generic phrase meaning the process by which a person has in law. That's all it means.
About the Fourth Amendment.
What about the Fourth Amendment? Which one? Which part of it?
The due process.
Due process of law means in different circumstances, certain people are entitled to certain actions.
Yes.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia's due process. Or let's avoid him for the time being and talk about
Why? He's you asked me for an example. He's a good example to go off of.
And he had his due process.
No, he had his due process violated.
No, he did not. That's incorrect.
Yes, he did. The Supreme Court ordered the Trump administration to bring him back because he had been illegally deported. He was deported.
So that's where we talked about earlier about how they quote unquote illegally or mistakenly deported him. And that wasn't there was one country that they were not allowed to deport him to. And there was speculations for a time that it was Venezuela that we are not allowed to deport him to, but that was his hometown. Like, hey, you're in my house. Let me take you home. Why is that a problem? I don't understand. Like, I'll give you a ride home. You're obviously lost. So why don't I help you back to your hometown? That literally makes no sense to me.
In error, which the Trump administration admitted and then walked back.
This is incorrect. So we got to break all this down, okay, to avoid, it's going to get clipped either way. An illegal immigrant enters the country through the southern border, right? Let's say a guy from Mexico crosses the border, runs full speed, 60 miles into the United States. What is his due process in this circumstance after he is apprehended?
That you're going to be told and read your charges, told and read your rights,
Incorrect.
And you're going to be given a court date
Incorrect.
And given the chance.
And what are your rights as a non-citizen? Again, I found you to be incorrect. Those are your rights. Now go home. The right. Yeah, Jared, Tim isn't always right because he has many times as an idiot libertarian, but in this, he's absolutely correct. Yes, I agree with you there. Liberal feminist women are pretty dense. Yeah. Pumpkinhead. I don't disagree with you there. I don't understand this thought process because again, he was here illegally from the first place. He somehow found asylum because he was afraid of other terrorist groups, other gangs that were against his gang. I thought that was pretty much a already known thing that he was in a gang and they was afraid of other gangs. That's why we weren't allowed to ship him back to that country or whatever. So he was illegal from the beginning. Once we labeled MS-13 as a FTO or the foreign terror organization, as soon as we labeled him as that, he's no longer allowed to be here, even regardless of the stay or whatever he had running for him before that. So
to make your case before
that's
a judge.
That's not what the law or the Constitution says. The process by which an alien is due, because due process is not a proper phrase, it's a generic phrase, meaning the word due literally means due and process literally means process. So we have executive immigration courts and the judiciary has nothing to do with it. The process by which an illegal immigrant is due is called expedited removal. Non-citizens who enter this country illegally do not have the right to a jury trial or a court. Citizens and resident aliens.
No, they don't.
That's not correct.
Yes, they do.
You are incorrect.
The Fourth Amendment does not refer to citizens. It refers to people.
You are incorrect.
Why am I incorrect? Is that not what the Fourth Amendment says?
Okay, that's sophistry. Okay,
sophistry is when you cite the literal words of the Fourth Amendment in the Constitution.
No, you're doing it again.
When I'm talking about
I did not say you are not correct on the language and definitions used in the Fourth Amendment. I'm saying
you
you're not
correct. No, you said I was doing sophistry by
is,
citing the Constitution.
No, I'm saying it's sophistry to imply that the phrase people refer to aliens who run through our country across the border illegally, because it does not.
Exactly. Exactly. So like I'd mentioned, the sophistry that she gets into is trying to state that it's for the people of the nation, does not mean that they get to just come in and be part of the nation just because they want to be part of the nation. That's not how anything works.
Due process refers to, of your status, what you're entitled to.
Yeah.
This is what I'm referring to when I say due process.
Is a court hearing.
The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue, but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation.
That's not due process.
Under the Constitution, under the law of the land, you have to be part of the land in order to be part of the law of the land.
Particularly describing, okay, what is your understanding of due process?
Due process refers to the legal requirement that the government must respect all legal rights owed to a person, ensuring fair treatment in legal proceedings. That doesn't mean that they get a trial. Doesn't mean that if you're
immigration law, the Constitution reserves immigration issues specifically to the executive branch.
It's like if, again, we've talked about on multiple occasions, and we'll probably talk about multiple occasions in the future, you can't go across seas to China, to Ukraine, to Russia, to anywhere else and just be part of their nation. At one point in time, that land was not owned by the people who own it now in Russia. The people who own it now is Ukraine. They took it in conquest from someone else, more than likely. So you can't say that just because we can't go across seas. Why are we any different just because we're a nation that's big enough that have some land to give, to have the ability to give out? They still have to come here legally and do their due diligence to be able to claim that land.
Immigration courts are not part of the judicial branch. They're part of the executive branch. And the law states that the Secretary of State has unilateral authority to remove any non-citizen at any point for any reason. So Ozturk specifically, it was the discretion of Marco Rubio under the law to say, your visa has been revoked. Thank you and have a nice day. And for that, she is being detained and deported. That is due process of law.
I've been talking about the Fourth Amendment. I meant to say the Fifth Amendment. Nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. That's federal due process of the Fifth Amendment.
Who?
Any individual in which the state acts against them. Let me pull up the entire Fifth Amendment.
And yet again, you have to be part of the state in order to be covered by the state laws. Are we just going to start holding the whole world accountable for what we hold our laws to? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Jared, while they're at it, repeal the 17th. I won't stop advocating for this. The 17th Amendment took power and representation away from the states that was supposed to be theirs from the beginning. Fair enough. I'll agree with that then. Crusader Asylum has been abused anyways. Our founding fathers didn't write it for just any immigration saying they are in fear for their lives and want asylum. It was made for wartime immigrants. Exactly. And I think pretty sure Brian on the Whatever podcast talks about this frequently, and how if you're fleeing a war-torn country that you by the asylum laws, you have to stop in the closest country to your original country to be able to have them accept you in. And so Mexico, I if I'm correct, and I'm a potato, so don't hold me to this, but I believe Mexico is a asylum country, which means they should be stopping in Mexico. They should be stopping in all of these other asylum countries, not just passing through, because of the great economy that the Americas hold. Again, we have the best economy. That's why they're coming here. We have the most stable infrastructure. That's why they're coming here. But again, if we want them as legal immigration, they have skills, they have capabilities to build their own country, their own infrastructure. We need to allow them to build their own infrastructure so that everywhere can be self-sufficient. We're not having to help everywhere with our tax dollars, because that's a scheme of the elite. They pull all of the money and then they trickle it out to those third world countries. We need those third world countries to do their own thing, right?
Indeed, because it's important to know what it says.
When you say due process of law, it doesn't mean that everyone gets a court trial with a jury. It just
no
means the
person
proper
shall be
legal
held to
proceeding.
answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall
That's great that you can read that. But again, it comes down to the fact that you're not part of the state. You don't have the representation because you don't have part of it. You're not part. You're not inputting yet. You don't get to pull out yet. I know that they do, but we need to stop that. So this people idea, I'm not saying to rewrite the Constitution. Maybe that we do, because the Constitution that we know is no longer even real. It's whatever they want it to be. So we need to reword it to the point where it's people of the states, the people that are under this Constitution, not just people, because they keep using that against us. It's not just people. It doesn't matter what the other parts of the world are doing. We can't be the world police. I'm tired of being it. I don't think that we should have gone into, I don't believe that we should have gone across seas and started pulling things out. We'll see how that plays out. It looks like it does look like it's a good thing for the world. It does. Don't get me wrong. We had every right to do it. It seemed like the way that it went down was absolutely and utterly correct. But I have my hesitations about it to this day. So like Tim in this episode mentions, he doesn't believe that Trump should have done that with Venezuela either. I don't know how I feel about it. Sorry about that. I don't know how I feel about it, but I think that we need to be really contemplating what we do, because we should be thinking about ourselves first. And if that be because we have all this oil coming from Venezuela and we make it rich off of that, it is what it is. But we need to be taking care of ourselves first. And it's going to take a lot of manpower and capital to run Venezuela. And if we're making capital off Venezuela, awesome. But if we're not, that's a bit concerning.
for public use without just compensation. That is in this country.
Says who?
He had, because he already had stay of removal.
He had expedited removal, indeed.
No. He had something designated on his own immigration.
Okay, look.
We can totally pull this up.
Here's the real challenge we're facing right now. You don't know these stories, and you're basing it off of conjecture and activist opinion.
I can't recall all of the details accurately.
I know,
so let me pull up.
Kilmer Obrego Garcia had an order for expedited removal, but it was stayed because they couldn't remove him send him back to Guatemala.
He's a Salvadoran man living in the United States.
Okay, so Guatemala was where we couldn't send him back to. We sent him back home because home was where he came from. Why is that a problem? What happens to him once we send him back to his home country? Once we give up jurisdiction, we release that jurisdiction to Venezuela or
States was illegally deported on March 15, 2025.
Okay, what are you reading?
By the Wikipedia. By the
and
US
then Wikipedia is not a real source.
Under the government, we can.
Where did they send him to?
Can go to the primary sources that they
Indeed,
link.
you should read the court documents from ICE because I'll just
under the Trump administration, which it called an administrative error, which you disputed.
No,
you said he wasn't deported.
An administrative error is not a violation of due process.
At the time, he had never been charged with or convicted of a crime in either country. Despite this, he was imprisoned without trial in the Salvadoran Terrorism Confinement Center, CCOT.
Oh, liberals are fucking retarded. I can't.
Yeah, it kind of makes you want to pull your hair out, doesn't it? Like, honestly, like, what is she even saying?
I can't do this. I fucking give up.
You want to respond to what I just said?
Why would he get a trial? What does a trial have to do with an expedited removal in a state to Guatemala? You don't know this stuff, and it's so impossible for me to get.
Well, didn't he get trials? Because they talk about it later. Didn't he get two different trials that basically labeled him as an MS-13 member? I'm pretty sure that he says that later that they two different judges labeled him as an MS-13 member, which again, as soon as the MS-13 group was labeled an FTO, that stay of because I did some research on this when it first happened, the stay of immigration was no longer void, or it was no longer valid. It was void, null and void, because he was part of a terrorist organization. Why would we allow somebody to stay in the country that is part of a terrorist organization? Sounds kind of familiar right now, doesn't it? Need to get them deportations going on, boys.
Give you a book, a 300-page understanding of what happened. But the problem is I have to deal with people like this who don't know, don't read, and then vote on it. And no matter how many times, I say it 500,000 times, pull the documents and prove it.
Because he wasn't just removed to that country. He was also then placed in effectively a gulag or torture dungeon.
Which branch has authority?
He was also then placed...
Which branch has the authority?
He was then placed into a gulag. Again, why is that our problem? For one, he was here illegally. He had every opportunity for how many years to be part of our country, to go through the process to become legally here, not just on a stay of immigration or on an asylum immigration card or whatever it is. He had the opportunity to go through the process to become a legal citizen. So him going across back to wherever we sent him to, I can't think of the name, and being put right into a prison because we can't, what are we going to do? Snatch him back up and take him back onto our plane and take off with him? Our jurisdiction ends once that plane lands in their country. We have to allow them to do what they're going to do. Wikipedia is a good source for movie info, etc., not a good source for political information or statistics. Yeah, Crusader, exactly. I stay away from Wikipedia as much as I can. The only times that I use it is for just random generic information, not statistics and stuff. This is wild.
Authority.
I'm not disputing that
this falls under the question.
I'm not disputing that this falls under the executive.
So why would he get a trial? You read a thing that claimed he didn't have a trial. That's a lie and manipulation.
They were not just trying to deport him illegally to a country that he was not supposed to be removed to, but they were also trying to imprison him, even though he hasn't committed or been, like he hadn't.
The United States did not imprison him.
No, We just deported him illegally, correct?
What? No, incorrect.
We deported him illegally.
It's
And then
just
he was
saying things.
imprisoned and confined at CCOT, which is a torture dungeon.
Oh my God.
He was.
You read a bunch of activist AI slop garbage. Believe it and don't
So
fact
you don't
check.
think that CCOT has prolific human rights violations?
Right violations and being a torture dungeon is quite the leap there. My last company that I worked for had violations. Were they a torture dungeon? Well, kind of, but we won't get into that.
Relations going on.
Trump sent him to
It's
the
a foreign
gulag.
country.
You
I don't
said
care
I
about.
just read a bunch of like bullshit
Okay.
that made me think
you
this.
literally
so you're just,
on your
but you
phone
just, said
just read a bunch
it
of
might.
AI slop garbage activist stuff.
Wikipedia
let's start
is
this.
AI slop.
Let's start this.
Yes, it is. Wikipedia is literally anybody can publish on it, isn't it? That I'm pretty sure. I stay away from Wikipedia, so I don't know much about it. But isn't it just pretty much anything goes on Wikipedia?
You read that he was illegally deported without a trial. I am asking you why he would.
Pumpkinhead. That's why she's why you don't date. Pretty much for the same reason I don't date. I'm trying to, but these women these days, especially this one, she could be a fairly attractive woman. You know, it's funny because I don't like my glasses. I like women in glasses most of the time, but her glasses make her look not smart, which they usually make women look smart, like a librarian, you know? But yeah, not this one.
would get a judicial hearing when immigration is the purview of the
No,
executive
I said
branch.
he was imprisoned without trial.
Indeed. Why would?
Okay, but you just
why
so
do
you
we
just
care about El
mischaracterized
Salvador?
what I just said.
So do we run El Salvador's courts?
No, we don't.
Then why would we write that he got a trial or didn't? It's not related to the executive branch. It's a foreign country.
He was removed to that country specifically.
Is it his home
and then
country?
Confined. I don't. It doesn't matter.
You don't know,
because
do you?
He was not.
Did he have a
supposed to
stay
be-
of deportation to El Salvador?
No, I can't remember.
He did not. It was Guatemala. This is the insufferable thing. You've taken a strong position on something you just don't understand.
So what does
And
that matter?
The executive branch
was not
has
supposed
sole
to be-
purview for deportation.
He was not.
Why does that matter? Because he had a stay of immigration to that country, which means we could literally send him anywhere else in the world and being the absolute correct. And she goes on to ask, well, if you'd been sent to a different country and been imprisoned, would you have a problem with it? Personally, no. I mean, I understand where Tim is coming from. He just says, I don't know, because I wouldn't necessarily take the stance in the moment either, because she's looking for something. She's looking. But I don't care what France does. I don't care what Venezuela does. I don't care what Guatemala does. I don't care what the country he went back to does with him once they get him. He's part of a gang organization. He's a criminal. Why are we caring about criminals? We don't have to pay for their stay in the gulag. We don't have to be suffering their time in the gulag. They do. If you don't want to go to the gulag, then don't get yourself into trouble to get to a gulag. Plain and simple. Again, I have a history. I'm not going to say I'm a perfect person. I've had my run-in with the law. I've been in a jail cell here or there. It's not a fun time. That's why I try to stay out of it. Imagine that.
Supposed to be sent to that country, correct?
No.
No, he was supposed to be sent to that country?
Yes, he had an order for deportation. The stay was for Guatemala. And the Biden administration and Trump, through his own failures, didn't do it properly.
Why was he supposed to be sent to that country?
He had an order for immediate deportation.
From the Trump administration. You think that was right?
That if the State Department wants to deport somebody, they can, yes.
I'm not asking if they can. I'm asking if you think it's right.
In the specific instance of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, was it right for him to be deported? The answer is yes.
And it was right for him to be imprisoned at CCOT.
I am not.
That's not for us to decide. If we had dropped him there and left, and then they put their arm around him, hey, buddy, good to have you home. And as we drive away into the distance, and then they go, okay, put the cuffs on you. What's the difference? What would be the difference between us dropping him, leaving, and the next day him getting arrested? He's a criminal. It was just a matter of time, right? Again, if they want him in prison, they will put him in prison, regardless of what we do. If it's his home country, we're not going to send him anywhere else and give him a paid vacation. That's not how things work. Again, if we had sent him somewhere else in the world and he'd gotten arrested there, you make your bed, you have to lay in it, I guess.
El Salvador. Well, El Salvador does is beyond the United States borders.
You don't have to be El Salvador. Just answer the question. Was it right for him to be imprisoned at CCOT?
If he is if El Salvador finds him to be a criminal, yes, 100%.
So yes, you're saying yes, it was right for him to be in prison there.
So if El Salvador finds that their own citizen should go to prison, that's their business.
But he hasn't even been found to have.
That's not us. We are not El Salvador.
You don't have to be El Salvador to have an opinion on this.
My opinion is El Salvador can conduct their affairs as they see fit, and if they determine he should go to prison,
we can have an opinion, but I think there's an old saying about opinions and how everybody has one, but they all stink because they're all kind of like beanholes or something. I don't know, right? Or a hair on a monkey's, but I don't know. But the point being is it doesn't matter what we think. It only matters what El Salvador, that was what the name was. Wow. El Salvador. What they do is their own choosing. That's what they want to do, not what we want to do, not what we think.
And he should.
But they didn't determine that. He was just put there.
They did. They put him in prison.
He was just put there.
Because El Salvador decided he should be.
Yep. Can you hear me? I said that does not with Congress.
That you want the law to change.
I hate this part.
The INA says that a foreign terrorist is disqualified from immigration reprieve.
Do you think it's correct that he's designating cartels as foreign terrorist organizations?
Do you support cartels?
That's an opinion.
Again, that's an opinion. But isn't that what they're doing? By mass importing drugs that literally will kill people, and the things that you see people do on these substances will boggle your mind. Yes, that is terrorizing. So yes, I would agree that drug cartel, big groups could be labeled as terrorist organizations. And
immaterial to whether.
No, I'm asking.
No, but this is an opinion question, immaterial to the conversation we're having.
So you think that it's correct to designate cartels as foreign terrorist organizations?
We are not talking about that. We're talking about whether Kilmer Abrego Garcia was lawfully deported.
Can you just answer that question? If you think it's correct that MS-13 was designated a foreign terrorist organization?
Don't know.
You don't know? Why not?
I don't know.
Yeah, again, like TNT saying, saw a dude doing the fentanyl fold on the sidewalk this morning. I've never experienced it firsthand, but I've seen the videos and I don't want to see it firsthand. It looks like zombies. It looks like something seriously wrong with people. And yet we don't have any problem with it or something. I don't know. Hey, MSM Liars, good to see you, man. Good to have you in the chat. I was hoping to see you in the live chat with us. So appreciate you tuning in when you can.
I don't know enough about it.
Okay, but that is the basis that's being used to deny this person due process under your argument.
I don't understand why, no matter how many times we explain due process, you don't understand what it is.
Trump administration says this is a foreign terrorist organization.
Did Kilmer Abrego Garcia get 2 court hearings?
There were 2 judges that reviewed evidence that said that there's sufficient evidence to say that he is part of MS-13.
Is that due?
So isn't that due process? Like he's just about to say, isn't that 2 court hearings? Whether they were in court during the time or not, isn't that 2 court hearings? If 2 judges ruled on this, that's 2 court hearings. Oh no, in one of your towns, Pumpkinhead? Oh man, North Carolina now has anti-ICE protests. Oh, the dude in the white hat has had enough. Yeah, it's funny because like both Belladante or whatever his name is. I'm terrible with names. Sorry, guys. And the guy in the white hat, they're just so over this chick. It's so funny. And the other chick, like, I wish she would have said some more. Like, I think Pumpkinhead said earlier, you know, she was base. Like, I wish she would have broke in more, but she tried. And this toxic woman shut her down instead of actually allowing her to bow up at her. But anyway, that's kind of all I've got for it. We'll see. We'll see.
Oh, our plane took him to the El Salvador prison that he was imprisoned in.
The plane took him to San Salvador.
It took him to an airport.
And then El Salvador's law enforcement.
Where custody was exchanged.
So were it not for the United
Exactly. That right there. Yeah. I knew there was more to it. So like they're saying, we took him to San Salvador. What they do with him from there is up to them. We can't control what they do with their people. And we're not going to try. It's not our people, not our circus, not our monkeys. Right?
United States government flying him to El Salvador and then him being
if we
transferred
deport someone to Uganda and they get by a lion, that's on us. Like, what are we doing?
This isn't an argument. This is not an argument. Custody was transferred to El Salvador, and El Salvador put him in prison.
Facilitated his imprisonment in El Salvador in C5.
No, they facilitated his transport, and then
We did not, again, facilitate the imprisonment. We facilitated the deportation. What happens after the deportation is out of our hands. We can't say that. What are we going to do? Start sending an officer with these people so that they don't get arrested for the first few days before they get assimilated back into their own hometown? Like, what is going on?
The changing hands of custody. The United States facilitated the transport to El Salvador. They then gave him to the authorities in El Salvador. Then the authorities in El Salvador
so we
put him in
cooperated
prison.
with them to imprison him.
No.
Unfortunately, Pumpkinhead, she probably gets more than anybody. She probably should, for that matter.
It doesn't matter where he's going. It doesn't matter. No, we
cooperated.
They cooperated with us by taking him when we transported him.
So it's under our jurisdiction then.
We sent him. No,
because
he was
they
under our
cooperated
jurisdiction.
with us.
You're saying
it's under our jurisdiction.
He was under
then.
our jurisdiction, and we deported him to El Salvador.
Correct.
Then
I'm saying
custody was transferred to El Salvador, and they put him in prison.
And we cooperated with that to help facilitate that imprisonment.
we facilitated
Yeah, Pumpkinhead. There you go. Exactly, Crucible Crusader. Once out of the U.S., not our problem. We cannot police the whole world. We got to stop trying. Her moms are so proud. Yeah, TNT. I bet. Both of them, all four of them, man. Yeah, this is wild. This girl. It's such sad. It's so sad to see, too. Because, again, she could, if she were to actually want to be, like, why are all these liberal women, I don't dress for the man gaze, but then they come on to these podcasts with the low-cut shirts and so that they get stared at the whole time so that people will continue to watch them. Kylie is a perfect example. I don't know how many of you have seen that one where she crashes out on the whatever podcast, and then she goes and she starts trying to smear them. And every freaking reel that she uploads, she has her chest hanging out like this chick here. And it's just like, that's all you have to offer, isn't it? You could have come with, dressed modestly with your brains intact, because obviously she's a bright woman if she would actually apply herself to things that are based in reality instead of just being whatever she is. But she even says at the end, they're like, yeah, I'm sorry we all ganged up on you and kind of hit you with all the hits from all the different angles. She's, I like it. It's good for me. I enjoy it. You toxic woman. Like this, we don't want women who are, we want peace, submissive, smooth, easy to get along with. We want peace in our lives. We don't want to constantly fight about what you think is happening across seas, for example.
a thing that didn't happen. And it's fine to ask hypothetical, but my answer is literally, I don't know. I don't have a yes or no answer for you because these are different countries. The fact remains, he was barred from going to Guatemala. He went to El Salvador. He's home. What his home country does with him is not my point.
Had deported him to Somalia and a prison there, you would be okay with it?
No.
No.
I don't know.
So again, like I said, he says, I don't know. And I applaud him for having the wherewithal to be able to say, I don't know, instead of saying, I don't have a problem with it. Because in the moment, she's looking for something to stab him with. But as far as I'm concerned, no, if he were to be deported to El Salvador or wherever she mentioned, and he were to be in prison there, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Because again, we don't have anything to say with anywhere else. Now, if he were to be deported, which is not deporting, but if he were to be sent to Alaska or Hawaii, for example, that are part of the United States or whatever, again, I'm a potato. If Hawaii's not part of the United States, don't shoot the messenger or whatever that case. But the point is you could potentially send them to that and control the situation. But if you're deporting them, we don't have any control of what happens after that.
You don't know.
No, I have no strong feelings one way or the other. It's immaterial to what happens.
I'm not asking if you have strong feelings. I'm asking if
you're asking
if you just really can't engage with the hypothetical, and that's fine.
I can engage with the hypothetical.
No, you're refusing to because you're
no,
saying
I'm not.
I don't know.
I gave you an answer. It's I don't know.
No, the I don't know is the cop out.
No, it's not.
It's not.
How he really feels.
I don't have strong feelings.
I'm in the middle.
100% legitimate.
It could be bad. It could be good. I'll have to see.
Yeah, that's an answer, just like any of the answers that the left gives, for that matter. But I don't have any strong feelings one way or another is an absolute answer, because again, we don't control the world. We only control the United States. And once they've been put on a plane in the United States and sent out of the United States, we no longer have the control over that.
What would you need to see so you could make a decision?
We can
load
the
it into the
circumstance, the deportation, the stay of deportation, the actions taken, the plane, the prison, the politicians involved.
So if it was like a Boeing instead of like a different kind of plane, maybe you'd be in support of it, maybe you wouldn't be.
Maybe not, because I feel like the prison.
She's so weird with her hypothetical. Like, she couldn't even give him a little bit of a bone and say, you know, have it be a military plane where it doesn't have seats and he's stuck on a you know, I'm pretty sure some of my chat might even be able to commiserate with this, but you know, military planes, they have those fold down seats on the side, and then they carry cargo, and you just basically are just the cargo to the cargo. And so you're just strapped to this little like pad that's your seat, right? You know, I could see him being a little upset about us deporting somebody in a military jet or a military cargo plane or something like that. But I'm almost guaranteeing this wasn't the case. He was probably put on a commercial plane or something like that, flown first class. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that he was, but with what we do for our illegal immigrants, I wouldn't be surprised.
If like the plane had like uncomfortable seats and they had them in a box or something. There's a lot of circumstances here. All I can say is,
but then
it's
that
hard.
Ultimately,
it's hard for me
that
to
wouldn't
assert.
change your answer that you.
Yeah, MSN. Exactly. Like the back seats of the old S10s, man. Back in the day when things were still built to last or something. I don't know. I miss those S10s, man. They were good little trucks.
Just say, oh, he should be deported not in a box in a plane.
You
but
just meant that I don't have an answer for you.
Deported to the plane.
You just meant that I literally
to
don't
a different
know.
country.
Sometimes people don't know things. Sometimes I don't know is an okay answer.
I'm only saying that you're refusing to engage with the hypothetical.
But I
in a
did
substantive
engage
way.
with.
I love how she just like kind of skirts that, because you know dang good and well that she's had to say, I don't know, every once in a while too, because no one knows everything. And if she's trying to say that she knows everything, we know she's lying. So, you know, she's said, I don't know at some point in time for an answer. So why can't she just accept it? Because she has an answer she wants him to say, so she can clip it or whatever else she has in mind.
Your hypothetical.
In a substantive way, because you're saying, I don't know. I don't have enough information.
So
there's all of these circumstances that would change
like
it with
what?
that.
So give me one.
Yeah, you just said the plane. You just said,
yeah,
oh.
That's fair, Crucible Crusader. Who cares if they're comfortable on the plane? It's ridiculous. I agree. If they're here illegally, why do we care how comfortable they are leaving? I'm definitely not saying even throwing them onto a military cargo plane, I don't have a problem with it. Throw them in the middle, tie them down to the cargo racks. As far as I'm concerned, they shouldn't have come here in the first place. If we're if we're shipping a criminal across seas, they probably will be in a box or strapped down to the cargo racks. I don't know. But again, if you don't want the repercussions, don't follow through with the actions. Don't come to the United States if you don't want to be deported from the United States.
I don't know about the plane. I don't know if he would be uncomfortable. I don't know about the prison. You said the prison would be a matter, but to me that suggests that if he was deported to a third country where he had no relation to, and there were grave human rights abuses in a prison that they wanted to send him to in this third country, you would be against it. Is what you're suggesting, or that it would at least be bad is what you're intimating, but you won't say either way.
Because I genuinely do not know. And I'm not going to lie to people to pretend I have strong opinions on something that I don't understand.
Exactly, just me. Here's the thing. Want to avoid getting sent to a country that you don't like and or by a means of transportation you don't like? Well, then don't break into America illegally. Problem solved. Imagine that, right? Yeah, and MSM liars. I like the 4.3 Vortec engines. They were strong little engines too. Those Ford Rangers too, man. There's a song that says it for a reason, right?
It's hard for you to understand and to give a straight answer to a hypothetical like that.
In this context, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Sometimes I'm wrong and I'm not smart enough to understand what that would look like, and I'm not going to make assumptions. So I just don't know.
I think you're plenty smart to engage with this hypothetical, and you're just obstinate.
I did. I don't know.
Sorry.
Again,
substantively.
I don't know is an answer, and I'm pretty sure you've given it at one point in time or another too. So we'll just jump through to the end here real quick.
But I'll clarify, because I think it's fine to say that if we send in like frogmen to pull someone from their home or execute them, that's an invasion. Like, I think it's, the Polymarket's not paying out Venezuelan invasion because they argued that we didn't capture territory.
Oh, really?
But we did. We took the Venezuelan compound to secure him. Just because it was for 90 minutes doesn't mean it wasn't an invasion. So the argument
That's wild to me. 90-minute invasion. And the videos that have been coming out since that invasion are wild. Like the military, and I've known this for a long time, but anything that we know of that the military has, it's 10 years, 15 years out of date. They have way advanced technology. But the videos that I've been watching, and I'll probably cover a couple maybe next week, but they're wild because the technology that we have is so much more advanced than what we know of. And what I know of is even more old than that. Like, the heart attack gun, that was declassified information that does exist. That was something that they made. And now we've got, what's the term that I'm looking for? Sonic boom devices that make people nauseous, sick. They can't, their equilibrium is gone. And this is something that I've been watching being developed for many years now. So what do we really have the capability of? What is being used that could potentially be a war crime or something? I don't know. Because the Geneva Convention hasn't been applied or whatever the case is, right? But again, we have technology leaps and bounds above anybody else. To go in and do a 90-minute raid and take out an entire country's military and pull their dictator is insane. Look at the Hendrikus loose patents. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that. MSM liars. Hendrix loose patents. Huh. Okay. Yeah, Sonic, known as LRAD. Yeah, it's wild, and we saw him back in the Hulk video where they used the Sonic cannons to slow down Hulk. Same concept. It will mess with your equilibrium and make you dizzy, nauseous, throwing up. You can't stand, all sorts of stuff. But anyway, that's for another video.
How does the U.S. does a variety of things to take over a country. We do first economic incentives. We'll make you rich. If they say no, then we try to manipulate them politically. The first economic incentives things does involve sanctions. Then there's political manipulation, like we've seen in like the banana republics or The efforts we've made in Iraq and Afghanistan with nation building is not a great example, but Ukraine is probably a better example. The Euromaidan movement, before it became full-blown war, the U.S. was funding activist groups to foment support for the EU. When that doesn't work, we then go for assassinations. And if that doesn't work, we then go for full-scale militarized invasion. So that's the playbook for how it went with Saddam Hussein. And it was because he didn't want to trade oil in dollars. He wanted to trade in euro. And Muammar Gaddafi wanted to trade in gold. That's the scale of things that we do.
Did you support the Obama admin's Libya intervention?
Absolutely.
And as I understand it, Maduro was just like, yeah, I don't want to do anything with anybody. It's mine. It's all mine. And so we went in and got it, I guess. I don't know.
Absolutely not. And I think Barack Obama was a scumbag who murdered children and American citizens, and he's a war criminal and should be arrested. And Trump doesn't get any special passes for me because he was accused of killing another American girl, the sister of Abdurrahman al-Awlaki in Yemen. Now, that one is an accusation not yet confirmed, and I think we should have a trial and a hearing over it, though it's been 10 years. The Obama killing of Abdurrahman al-Awlaki is admitted to, confessed to, and they said, whoopsie daisy. So if you want to confess to the murder of an American, you get locked the fuck up. So anyway, I don't think the U.S. should be killing Saddam Hussein and invading under false pretenses to enforce the petrodollar. I don't think that we should have gone and removed Maduro, though I think Maduro is a bad guy, and they are wholly different things.
Even if Anwar al-Awlaki was affiliated with a terrorist organization?
Abdurrahman al-Awlaki?
I'm sorry, I can't get the name right, but that individual, even if they're affiliated with a terrorist
Abdurrahman al-Awlaki was not, no. He was a 16-year-old from Boulder, Colorado, visiting his family in Yemen.
Wait, I'm not talking about that. That's it was like an additional casualty that was incurred as a result of this. I'm talking about...
No. Abdurrahman al-Awlaki was directly targeted and the restaurant was blown up and he was killed. And when asked about it, they said, we thought there was a different target at the building.
That's not good.
So would you, if they're part of a terrorist organization, is that okay?
Depends.
That we did that?
Anwar al-Awlaki was an American citizen.
But he was part of Al-Qaeda, no?
Perhaps. He was argued that he was a proselytizer of Al-Qaeda and he was actively engaged in war with us in a war zone. That's tough. I still lean towards they should have had a criminal trial for him in the United States before killing an American citizen. But it's fair to say that when you're actively engaged in war, look, if someone's running at me with a gun, they get shot. Doesn't matter if they're an American citizen or a Uzbekistanian or whatever. So Anwar al-Awlaki was killed in a drone strike. He was an American citizen who wasn't given due process. No charge, no trial. They just killed him. The argument they made was he was an active enemy combatant, proselytizing for our enemies in enemy territory. And it's like, well, we aren't at war with Yemen. So why are we bombing Yemen? He's just a foreign guy preaching things we don't like. There should be a trial for him. Now, Abdurrahman is wholly different. This was an American citizen who committed no crimes, was part of no terrorist organization, who was visiting his grandparents in Yemen at a civilian restaurant when Obama blew him up. That's criminal. Obama should be in prison for that. He admitted to it. As administration said, we thought it was a different target. Okay, we call that manslaughter. Okay, we call that
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's called manslaughter. But you didn't necessarily mean to do it, but you still did it. The intent didn't matter anymore. It's still manslaughter. We cannot handle the high sonic waves because it shakes the insides, and our inside cannot handle that. Exactly, Pumpkinhead. That's just it about the sonic waves. There's a lot of different things about infrasound too, and we'll go into that hopefully at some point in time with the different things that humans do in general. And with that being the case, they actually will cause internal vibrations and cause disorientation. So that's an interesting thing that you point out there too. MSM Liars. Yeah, Tim nailed the truth on that one. I agree with you. He has some good takes every once in a while. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. We got him, but we really need to focus on us, not other places. Yeah, I agree, Pumpkinhead. We need to be America only at this point in time. Now, America first, like I've mentioned before, I'm all about America first. When we have the time, when we have the funds, when we have the ability to help, we can, but we don't at this point in time. We need to be focusing on ourselves at this point. And Crucible Crusader, Obama, oops, my bad. Yeah, it doesn't fly, and I don't understand why it's flying for these leaders. Right? If I were to say, oops, my bad, I didn't mean to hit this person because I was asleep, it's not, I'm still going to jail for manslaughter. Right? Yeah, it can also cause internal bleeding. Yeah, the waves, the sound waves, sound is intense. The things that you can do with sound you can cure cancer with sound waves. This is speculative. I'm not saying that I'm a doctor and I know this, but this is something that they have found in past experimentation, that they can actually cure cancer with sound waves in rats or whatever, right? Which means if sound can cure cancer, it can cause cancer. It can cause a lot of different things as well. All right, so we'll just finish this up real quick.
If you point a gun at a guy and shoot him and say, I thought that was a murderer, we say, well, you killed an innocent person, you go to jail for that. Anyway, we are well over and we do need to wrap up, but I do want to give you the opportunity to put your final thoughts in and take the final word.
I don't have any additional final thoughts. Had a good time
Thank goodness.
talking with all of you guys and debating throughout the afternoon. My name is Erin, aka _online. I live stream basically Monday through Friday, politics, react streams. So come by; it's always a good time. And thank you for having me on.
Thanks for coming too, and I appreciate you handling the heat in the kitchen. I know we're all kind of against you, but I do think it was great to have you.
It's fun for me.
Like I said, it's fun for me. Where I realize that that's just to save her face or whatever the reason that she says it like that is, that's very toxic. I'm not going to be there for the heat of the conversations. I'm going to be there for the conversations when I can be, so that I can learn other points of views, get out of my echo chamber, like I've mentioned on multiple occasions. So what do you guys think, right? Put your comments in the comment section below. Please like, subscribe, share me out to all of your human friends and share that starch. We'll see if I can get a following of any kind. But what do we think we should be doing about our ICE agents? Should we be restricting them more, or should we be giving them more access to the support that they need so that these riots don't get to the point where they're so stressed that they resort to their firearm being pulled instead of a different route, right? This is why I want all borders closed, deporting the illegals out, and Muslim religion ban and them pushed out. Pumpkinhead, I will agree with you at this point in time. Deporting the illegals and anyone that is not supposed to be here. If you're on a overstayed visa, get it renewed or get out. We're tired. For now, I will go ahead and sign off and let you go on with your evening. I know I probably better get on with mine. I will be trying to do more content in the weeks coming. So if you guys, if anybody wants to do some interviews and things like that, I would really like some help to get started. I have a problem with remembering certain things. So if somebody would shoot me a DM or something like that to be able to start an interview, we can do that over the next couple weeks. For now, please take care of yourselves out there. You are all very important to me, if not anybody else. Remember your Second Amendment rights within the United States. Your response time will always be faster than that of the police. Those outside of the United States, take care of yourselves the best way that you know how. You are also very important, and your rights are extremely important to me in this nation as well. For now, the Potato signing off. Christ is God, and this Potato signing off.
They build illusions pixel by pixel, telling you lies that sound official. Cameras smile while the people drown, and the truth gets buried 6 feet down. I grew from the soil, no filter, no frame. illusion. It only works when we stay quiet, when we stay still. But I sprouted up, cause I've had my fill. Mainstream mouth spin webs of control, feeding the fear, feeding the scroll. But I'm the root voice, truth in the grain, prototator breaking the chain, yeah. They mute the weak, they sell the strong. They twist your pain in the clickbait song. But I'm the static they can't delete, a whisper that turns to a drumbeat. The soil remembers what screens forget, the lies they sold, the fear they said, yeah. Can't cancel roots that dig too deep. I'm the truth that wakes when the sheep still sleep. They can blur the lens, but not the sound. True vibrates underground. From the mud I speak, from the cracks I rise. Can't cage the storm, can't mute the cries. Mainstream mouth spin webs of control, feeding the fear, feeding the scroll. But the weak have a voice, and I'm here to say, prototators risen and I won't decay. I'm not here for fame or show. I'm the void of the unheard below. They speak in headlines, I speak in root and true. Always finds its shoe.